This is a reading from the poem of the Man God by Maria Valtorta. Volume 2, Episode 188, From Tabor to Endor, in the Cave of the Necromancer, Encounter with Felix, who becomes John. 13th of June, 1945. Jesus and the apostles have passed Mount Tabor and left it behind them. They are now walking on a plain lying between that mountain and another one facing it, talking of the climb made by them all, although at the beginning the elder ones had not been too keen. But now they are happy they had gone up to the top. Their journey is now easy because they are on a main road which is quite comfortable for walking. It is early in the morning because I am under the impression that they have spent the night on the slopes of the Tabor. That is Endor, says Jesus, pointing to a poor village built on the first heights of the other mountain. Do you really want to go there? If you wish to make me happy, responds the Iscariot. Let us go then. But is it a long way? Asks Bartholomew, who, because of his age, is not very keen on walking tours. Oh no, but if you wish to stay, says Jesus. Yes, you may stay. I will go with the Master, says Judas Iscariot immediately. Listen, before making up my mind, I would like to know what there is to be seen. From the top of Mount Tabor we saw the sea, and after the boy's speech I must admit that I saw it properly for the first time, and I saw it as you see, with my heart. Here, I would like to know whether there is anything to learn, because in that case, I will come even if it is tiresome, says Peter. Do you hear that? You have not yet said what you intend doing. Be kind to your companions and tell us now, says Jesus invitingly. Did Saul not go to Endor to consult the necromancer? Yes, he did, so? Well, Master, I would like to go there and hear you speak of Saul. In that case I will come too, exclaims Peter, full of enthusiasm. Let us go then. They walk fast along the last stretch of the main road, which they leave to follow a secondary road, which takes straight to Endor. It is a poor village, as Jesus said. The houses cling to the slopes, which, beyond the village, become steeper. Poor people live in them. Most of them must be shepherds who pasture their flocks on the sides of the mountain and in the woods of old oak trees. There are a few small fields of barley, or similar fodder grain, in favorable sites, and some apple and fig trees. There are only a few vines around the houses, decorating the walls, which are dark, because the place is obviously a damp one. We will now ask where the place of the necromancer was, says Jesus, and he stops a woman who is coming back from the fountain with pitchers. She looks at him curiously, then replies impolitely, I don't know. I have much more important things to worry about than such nonsense. And she goes away. Jesus turns to an old man who is carving a bit of wood. The necromancer? Saul? Who bothers about them now? But wait, there is one here who has studied and perhaps he knows. Come with me. And the old man climbs laboriously up a stony lane to a very poor and shabby-looking house. He lives here. I will go in and call him. Peter, pointing at some poultry, scratching about in a dirty yard, says, This fellow is not an Israelite. But he says no more, because the old man comes back, followed by a man blind in one eye, who is as dirty and untidy as everything round his house. The old man, see, this man says that it is over there, beyond that dilapidated house. There is a path, a stream, a wood, and some caves. The one at the top, where there are still traces of ruined walls on one side, is the one you were looking for. Is that right? No, you have muddled everything. I will go with these strangers. The man's voice is harsh and guttural, which increases everybody's feeling of uneasiness. He starts walking. Peter, Philip, and Thomas make repeated signs to Jesus to advise him not to go, but Jesus does not pay attention. He walks with Judas behind the man, and the others follow him, unwillingly. Are you an Israelite? Asks the man. Yes, I am. I too, or almost, although I do not look like one. But I lived a long time abroad, and I got into many habits of which these fools here disapprove. I am better than the others, but they say that I am a demon, because I read a great deal. I breed poultry, which I sell to the Romans, and I can cure people by means of herbs. When young, because of a woman, I quarreled with a Roman. I was at Sintium then, and I stabbed him. He died. I lost one eye, and all my wealth, and I was sentenced to life imprisonment. But I knew how to cure people, and I cured the daughter of one of the guards. I thus won his friendship and some freedom. I used it to escape. I acted badly because the man certainly paid for my flight with his life, but freedom seems so beautiful when one is a prisoner. Is it not really beautiful afterwards? No. Jail, where one is alone, is better than being in contact with men who do not allow you to be alone and come around to hate us. Did you study philosophy? I was a teacher at Sintium. I was a proselyte. And now? Now I am nothing. I live according to the reality of facts, and I hate, as I was, and am still hated. Who hates you? Everybody. And God is the first. She was my wife, and God allowed her to be unfaithful to me and ruin me. I was free and respected, and God allowed me to become a convict, serving a life sentence. God abandoned me. Men were unfair. Both he and they destroyed me. There is nothing left here. And he strikes his forehead and his chest. Rather, here in my head, there are my thoughts, my knowledge. It is here, and there is nothing. And he spits contemptuously. You are wrong. You have still two things there. Which? Remembrance and hatred. Remove them. Become really empty, and I will give you something new to put in there. What? Love. You make me laugh. I have not laughed for 35 years, man, since I had proof that the woman was unfaithful to me with the Roman wine merchant. Love. Love to me, it is like me throwing jewels to my chickens. They would die of indigestion unless they passed them out with their excrement. The same would happen to me. Your love would be a burden to me if I could not digest it. No, man, do not say that. Jesus lays his hand on the man's shoulder. He is deeply and openly distressed. The man looks at him with his only eye, and what he sees on that most sweet and beautiful face causes him to be struck dumb and to change his expression. From being sarcastic, he becomes very serious, and then really sad. He lowers his head with a changed voice. He asks, "Who are you?" "Jesus of Nazareth, the Messiah." "You! I did not know about... Did you not know about me, since you read so much?" "I knew, but I did not know that you were alive. And above all, I did not know this. I did not know that you were good to everybody, thus also to murderers. Forgive me for what I said about God and love. Now I understand why you want me to give love. Now I understand why you want to give me love, because without love the world is hell, and you, the Messiah, want to make a paradise of it. A paradise in every heart. Give me the remembrance and the hatred that make you ill, and let me put your love into your heart. Oh, I wish I had known you before, then. But when I killed, you were certainly not born yet. But later, when I was free, as free as a snake in a forest, I lived to poison people with my hatred. But you did also some good. Did you not say that you cured people by means of herbs? Yes, to be tolerated. But how many times I had to struggle against my desire to poison people by means of potions. See, I took refuge here because it is a place where the world is ignored and which the world ignores. A cursed place. In other places I hated and was hated, and I was afraid of being recognized. But I am wicked. You regret having harmed the prison guard. Do you not see that there is still some goodness in you? You are not wicked. Your only trouble is that you have a large open wound which nobody is curing. Your goodness runs out of it, as blood from a wound. But if someone would cure your wound and heal it, my dear brother, goodness would increase in you, because it would no longer vanish as it forms. The man weeps with bent head, trying to conceal his tears. Only Jesus, who is walking beside him, notices them. He notices, but does not say anything further. They arrive at a cavern made of rubble and mountain caves. The man endeavors to steady his voice, and says, "Here it is. You may go in." "Thank you, my friend. Be good." The man does not say anything, and remains where he was, while Jesus, with his apostles, passing over large stones which must have been part of very strong walls, upsetting green lizards and other ugly-looking insects, enters a large, smoky grotto, on the walls of which there are still graffiti signs of the zodiac and similar things. In a corner, blackened by smoke, there is a niche, and under it a hole which looks like a gully hole for water. Bats hanging in disgusting bunches decorate the ceiling, and an owl, upset by the light of a branch which James has lit to ensure they do not tread on scorpions or asps, complains, flapping its wadded wings, and closing its ugly eyes which cannot bear the light. It is perched in the niche, and the foul smell of dead mice, of weasels and birds in decomposition at its feet is mixed with the stench of dung and of damp soil. It is really a lovely place, says Peter. Your Tabor and your sea were much better, my boy. And then addressing Jesus, Master, satisfy Judas at once, because this is not Antipas's royal hall. Certainly. What is it you want? He asks Judas of Iscariot. Well, I would like to know whether and why Saul sinned coming here. I would like to know whether it is possible for a woman to evoke the dead. I would like to know whether... Oh, it is better if you speak. I will ask you questions. It's a long story, and at least let us get out there in the sunshine, on the stones. We will get away from the dampness and the stench, begs Peter, and Jesus agrees. They sit as best they can on the ruins of the walls. Saul's sin was only one of his sins. It was preceded and followed by many more, all of them grave, double in gratitude towards Samuel, who had anointed him king, and who subsequently disappeared so as not to share with the king the admiration of the people. He was several times ungrateful to David, who saved him from Goliath and spared him the caves at Engedi and Hachilah, He was guilty of many acts of disobedience and of scandalizing his people. He was guilty of grieving his benefactor Samuel by lacking in charity. He was guilty of jealousy, of making an attempt on David's life, David being another benefactor of his, and finally, of the crime he committed here. Against whom? He did not kill anyone here. He killed his soul in here. He finished killing it. Why are you lowering your head? I am thinking, Master. You are thinking. I can see that. What are you thinking of? Why did you not come? Why did you want to come? You must admit it was not out of mere curiosity of a scholar. We always hear someone talk of magicians, necromancers, evoked spirits. I wanted to see whether I could discover anything. I would like to know how it is done. I think that since we are destined to amaze people in order to attract them, we should be somehow necromancers too. You are you, and you do things by means of your power. But we must ask for power, for help, in order to perform exceptional deeds which are necessary. Are you mad? What are you saying? Shout many. Be quiet. Let him speak. He is not mad. Yes, I thought that by coming here, a little of the magic of bygone days would assume possession of me and make me greater. In your interest, believe me. I know that your present desire is a sincere one, but I will reply to you with eternal words, because they are words of the Bible, and the Bible will exist as long as man exists, believed or mocked at, employed to defend the truth or scorned at. It will always exist. It is written, And Eve, seeing that the fruit of the tree was good to eat and pleasing to the eye, took it and ate it, and gave some to her husband. Then their eyes were opened, and they realized that they were naked, and they made themselves loincloths. And God said, How did you realize that you were naked? Only because you ate of the forbidden fruit. And he expelled them from the garden of delights. And in the book of Saul it is written, Samuel, appearing, said, Why have you disturbed me, conjuring me up? Why do you consult me when the Lord has abandoned you? The Lord will deal with you, as I told you, because you did not obey the voice of the Lord. Son, do not stretch your hand towards the forbidden fruit. It is imprudent even to go near it. Do not be curious to know ultramundane things, lest its satanic poison should conquer you. Avoid the occult and what cannot be explained. One thing only is to be accepted with holy faith, God. But avoid what is not God and what cannot be explained by man's reason or cannot be done by man's power, so that the sources of wickedness may not be opened for you, and you may realize that you are naked, repellent in your humanity, mixed with Satanism. Why do you wish to amaze people by means of obscure prodigies? Amaze them through your holiness, which should be as bright as things coming from God. Do not be anxious to rend the veils which separate the living from the dead. Do not disturb the deceased. Listen to them, if they are wise, while they are on the earth. Venerate them by obeying them also after their death, but do not upset their second life. Who does not obey the voice of the Lord loses the Lord. And the Lord has forbidden occultism, necromancy, Satanism in all its forms. What more do you wish to know that the Word already tells you? What more do you wish to perform than your goodness and my power enable you to perform? Do not crave for sin, but for holiness, son. Do not feel mortified. I am glad that you disclose your humanity. Many people, too many, like what you like, but the purpose of your desire to be powerful, to attract people to me, removes a heavy weight from that humanity and puts wings on it. But they are the wings of a night bird. No, my dear Judas, put wings as bright as the sun,